Liverpool in Match of the Day Live.
Good afternoon and welcome to Match of the Day Live from Goodison Park for the Today League game between Everton and Liverpool. And what an occasion. It's the 135th Merseyside League derby, and as it stands they've won 47 games each with 40 drawn. Liverpool have the edge over goals, 184 to 171, but Everton could argue they've had the most revered goalscorer, certainly with his head, the immortal Dixie Dean. But Liverpool have the contemporary ace in the goal-scoring pack, Ian Rush, who scored 16 goals against Everton in various competitions. They've also never been beaten in a game in which Rush has scored. And last season's First Division Championship was their 16th, as against Everton and Arsenal's 8 apiece. A quick look at the table shows nothing's changed much, with revitalised Arsenal leading the field, Nottingham Forest in second place, that's refreshing, and Everton in with a chance of going above Liverpool and into third place if they win this afternoon. Well, that should provide enough excitement to prevent the little afternoon doze, which I know can occur when following that hypnotic white ball. What I can tell you is that no one is going to nod off around here, and certainly not Trevor Brooking, our guest.
Only joking.
I know we want to bring back the fun on the field and off it, but what do you think is going to happen out there on the pitch this afternoon?
Well, I saw Everton play at Norwich in the week, and they played extremely well. 4-1 is a good result away from home, and coming into this particular fixture is the ideal preparation. Liverpool, though, at Coventry played 5 at the back, and you've got a feeling they might do that today. So I think goals might be hard to come by, and I suppose I'll sit on the fence again, Jim, and go for a draw.
You remember your draw wasn't quite accurate last time with West Ham. Not enough confidence in your own team, was it, were?
Well, I think a law of averages, if I keep going for draws, I might be right. But I think they are so well-balanced teams. I think a low-scoring draw.
If you're going to come down on one side or the other, come on, be bold.
I think I'll have to go for Everton, having seen them, because Kevin Sheedy on Wednesday was superb, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play this afternoon.
Well, let's hope we see comparable performances. Thank you very much indeed. And now it's your turn to take your seat in the stand for the first half, along with Laurie McMenemy and match commentator John Motson.
And as you can see, quite a spectacular view we've got too here, touching distance almost of the fans behind us and the players down in front very nearly. The 46,000 tickets that have been sold mean that the atmosphere is as good as it always is on Merseyside Derby Day. The team news: Everton field the side that won at Norwich, unchanged, with Wilkinson the substitute, and Liverpool also field the side that played in midweek. That was at Coventry. They too are unchanged, and no place in the 12 for Kenny Dalglish. He's left himself out. The referee is George Courtney from Spennymoor. And a quick word, Laurie McMenemy, about the conditions. Lots of wind.
Abnormally high wind, and it's a pity if it spoils the quality of the game, because it's building up already the atmosphere to a promising derby match with lots of excitement. But there's enough good players on the field to give us good passing, and the managers will no doubt have told them to just try and keep it on the deck. But let's look forward to a good game and hope that the wind doesn't spoil it, and that you and me don't drop over this fence into the paddock, John.
The youngest player in the match there, number 10, Neil Adams, nearest the camera. What an occasion for him, as Everton playing from left to right in the first half as we look. He's 21 years old today, Neil Adams, and he's also getting engaged tonight to his girlfriend, Stephanie. So you'll hope he'll be celebrating with an Everton win. But Liverpool have other ideas, and there's Molby knocking the ball back. And the wind is going to cause a little bit of uncertainty maybe early on here. Everton have the corner. Sharp has gone onto the near post. Trevor Stephen is also there as Adams prepares to take it. And Adrian Heath and Mountfield are deeper. And Sharp with Molby. Back again to Adams. They want it back in early. Mountfield is there. And there's Paul Walsh for Liverpool, but not clearing it. That was Manchester derby, and we've enjoyed many Spurs-Arsenal matches down the years in the south, but the Merseyside occasion has a ring all of its own, and you'll get some idea from the crowd noise here, I'm sure. Field. It's Gillespie who got the free kick.
Already, John, is a sign that Liverpool are going to play with a sweeper. Hesitate to say 5 men at the back, because no doubt Kenny will want you to talk about 3 at the back and the full-backs pushing forward, but so far they've been pushed into situations where there's 5 at the back.
There goes Rush. He's so quick. He's got Whelan in the centre, and Power was the man that cut the space down. Taken quickly, Nicol to Molby. Alan Hansen has come forward from the back, and so has Gillespie. That was Gillespie. Just taking up your point, Laurie, it looks as though Gillespie, Hansen and Lawrenson are the 3 centre-backs, with the sweeper system being employed. Lawrenson behind the other 2, Jim Beglin the left-back, and Steve Nicol, although wearing 8, the right-back. Heath for Everton, Adams. Alan Harper, a former Liverpool player. Adams again. Alan Hansen, Liverpool captain, made the initial challenge. Ronnie Whelan took it up. Rushes on a run against Ratcliffe.
Well, there we are. If anybody was forgetting what Mr. Rush does, he snaps up any chance in his own half, in the opposition's half, and he always looks dangerous when he's heading towards the goal. I thought Neville Southall looked a little bit casual there, because if the wind is a swirling wind, and if it had caught that, it could have very well drifted it into the corner.
Rush once scored 4 in a match here against Southall. Forward by Mountfield. Everybody pauses for breath. That was Power's header. Harper. Sharp to Heath. What a ball by Sheedy, but well read by Beglin. Nice to see the play spread so wide so early. It was Ratcliffe. Trevor Stephen knocked it back. On by Whelan. They're looking for this long ball, Liverpool. And in particular, they're looking for Rush. Gillespie. Whelan. Gillespie comes again. That was Ratcliffe. Then it was Lawrenson. And Grobbelaar has only found Sheedy, but it's out. Howard Kendall was saying, and also Kenny Dalglish, that maybe in recent seasons there has been rather more quality about derby matches. They haven't been quite as frantic as they used to be. That may owe something to the fact that Liverpool now have to meet Everton more or less on equal terms, whereas for some years in the 70s and early 80s, Liverpool were quite superior. Let's see what happens today. Here's Heath. This is Power. Whelan. Walsh. Harper. Over the head of McMahon. And Langley came through. Playing in the midfield still. Of course, Reed and Bracewell not fit for Everton. Sheedy. Sharp. Beautifully killed by Kevin Sheedy. Heath. Away from Lawrence. Play on, says George Courtney. The advantage was there. It may still be. Sheedy. It's again an Everton possession. Off the head of Lawrenson. Here's Adams. Heads it back for Trevor Stephen. By Rush. Beglin. Good challenge by Adrian Heath there. Adams. Offside, Graham Sharp.
I'm surprised Bruce Grobbelaar's kicking it so long, John, when they've only got the two players up front who need support. I would think that when the game settles down, they'll build up as they're starting to do now and bring a man from the back.
Here's Lawrenson. On the far side, Steve Nicol. Ratcliffe had to stretch. This is Mulby. Hanson. Nicol. Walsh. Harper's ball forward. Hanson with Sharp. Two Scottish internationals. Indeed, there are only three Merseyside-born players taking part in this match. Alan Harper, number 2, is one of them. About to take the throw for Everton. Minutes gone. Anybody tuning in after lunch? Everton 0, Liverpool 0. Forward by Beglin. That was Langley. On by Sharp. Lawrenson was covering. This is Gillespie. Out to Nicol. Walsh has started a run, but it was Kevin Sheedy who made the tackle. And Nicol who held him back. Everton will push Mountfield forward for the free kick. Always a handy customer to have at set plays. He's the number 5. Begling cleared it for a corner. So Mountfield can stay forward. Sheedy has come across to take it. Nicol with the header. Here's Adams. Nicol again. Rush got there in front of Harper. It was Gillespie. Rush. Power. Sheedy to Sharp and back again. Adams coming in behind Beglin. Was that hands by Beglin? The linesman says yes. The linesman was well placed to see that. Steve Mason from Nelson on the line there drew George Courtney's attention to the offence. Sharp waiting to come in on this, so too is Mountfield. And it's too long for all of them.
Yeah, Everton in particular are overhitting the ball, haven't come to terms with the win yet. Interesting thing to me is that Paul Power, who spent most of his career as a midfield player, has been encouraged to get forward here, and even Harper is going on the other side at the same time, and Langley is tending to sit more in the centre circle in front of the central defenders. So that's their way of counteracting the sweeper. If Liverpool are going to give them room down the flanks, let the white people use it, and if they can come to terms with this strong win, well, then we might see more action in the Liverpool penalty area.
Again, it's Sharp and Hansen, and Sharp's got the decision. He was up very early, Sharp, and it was Hansen who was penalised. Liverpool have pulled everybody back, including Ian Rush. Sharp is signalling as to where he wants the ball floated. It's Sheedy standing in a threatening position, hands on hips. And he tries the shot. Everton's top goal scorer this season, Kevin Sheedy. 10 goals so far, and quite capable of testing the goalkeeper from there. Playing for a quarter of an hour, no score. Jan Mulvey brought down by Power. McMahon, a former Everton player there on the Liverpool side. Here's Lawrenson. Nicol in towards Rush. He got a foot to it. There's a smile on the face of his Welsh teammate and adversary today, Neville Southall there. All the bumping and barging, George Court is trying to let the play flow.
I'm waiting for Mulvey to start getting involved, John. It looks as though he's just sort of walking around, weighing up the situation and saying, I wonder if these fellas are going to start giving me the ball on the deck.
Darby was very much the man who turned the cup final, and there's Rush trying to turn the ball into the path of Walsh. Rush in the middle now. Here is Mulvey. Didn't get hold of it. Graham Sharp holding off the challenge of Gillespie, getting it back from Sheedy, joining in the build-up play there from the centre-forward position. Now he moves forward, still in possession. Good play by Sharp again. Sheedy, decent cross. Heath was there.
Good effort, good strong header there, and not far off. And Bruce Grobbelaar will breathe a sigh of relief. I think conditions like this are most uncomfortable for the goalkeepers, because when the wind is swirling, they can't get a true cross every time. But that was a good cross from Sheedy, who's got a cultured left foot and a good strong header which just went past the post.
Rush offside against Walsh. Paul Walsh is playing with a cast on his wrist. A nylon cast with quite heavy padding. He broke the wrist here in the Super Cup final against Everton, and the referee had a long look at that. In fact, he went into the Liverpool dressing room after looking at it first off in his own dressing room and supervised more padding, with Kenny Dalglish looking on anxiously before the teams got changed. Walsh. Here's Mulvey. And that's McMahon. That was well played. Nicol. Walsh against Power. Support coming from midfield. These two clubs knowing each other so well, playing each other indeed more often than ever now, but that doesn't lessen the significance of the occasion. This is Alan Hansen. McMahon, a good-looking ball. Nicol chasing. Nicol again, Walsh. That's up. This time it's the other linesman on the far side, Roger Eden, whose signal is acknowledged by George Courtney. Free kick then to Liverpool. Jan Mulvey placing the ball. Adams getting it away. Here's Hansen. Gillespie is still forward for Liverpool on the far side. Here comes Beglin. Harper wants it to run, and it did.
The one thing about Liverpool playing with a sweeper, of course, that they have got players of quality like Hansen and Lawrence who can come forward and be as good as a forward player with the final pass. But as we saw against Sheffield Wednesday last week, Gillespie and Hansen, I think it was, both missed shots in the 6-yard box that possibly and certainly Ian Rush would have scored and most forwards would have done. But if they join in the build-up, well, that's when they create an extra danger to Everton. But the players that have... The two players that have impressed me so far, settling down, taking into consideration the derby, tension and nerves, and the wind, are Sheedy and Ian Rush. And something seems to happen whenever either one of these two gets the ball.
Here's Ronnie Whelan. Alex Hansen. McMahon. Again, Nicol hugging that right-hand touchline for Liverpool. Taking on Paul Power. Rushes in the centre. Ratcliffe had to cut it out. The Liverpool fans behind that goal sensing something could be on here. Gillespie. Header by Stephen. Now McMahon. And again, driven towards Beglin, Harper's header. But Rush is lurking just inside here. Gillespie has stayed forward, but the cross has gone behind him. And it's Adams who comes away for Everton. Power. Welby. He's got a free kick there. Langley was the player pulled up. Lawrence looking for Whelan. Found him. Rush is there. Shooting chance for Rush. No. The referee says no. And has presumably penalised Ian Rush for turning his man.
Yes, George Courtney was only 3 or 4 yards away, and it'll be interesting to see on the playback here whether or not he did hold off the defender. I thought it was touch and go, actually, because it was a quality turn, really, there. Yeah, I suppose he's given them the benefit of the doubt, but the defender will breathe a sigh of relief there, because I don't think he would have complained too much if the goal had stood. But quality finishing. Most forwards would have gone for the other side of the goal. He stuck it in there, very confident, and he had extra time to play with that ball.
That came halfway through the first half. The defender in question was Derek Mountfield, who wouldn't normally get turned like that unless there was a case of him being impeded, and that's what George Courtney decided. So Ian Rush's effort does not count. He's 3 goals behind Dixie Dean in the all-time scoring record in Merseyside derbies. Rush has 16 at present. Dixie Dean finished with 19. Here's Sharp for Everton. Free kick. Alan Hansen contesting it, but the game moving so swiftly now, and the challenges coming in thick and fast, as always, in a match as competitive as this. No time to dwell on the ball, which is perhaps why we haven't seen too much of Mulvey, as Laurie said. Mountfield is moving in for this. Sharp is hanging back there. Sharp, Lawrenson, Stephen, and again. It's Harper. Oh, Lawrenson on Heath, not given. The Everton supporters at the Gladys Street end there thought there was a case of a penalty. Well, they got the verdict at the other end, and I suppose you could say that rather evened things up. Not that I'm suggesting either decision was wrong. Adrian Heath was furious. He thought he was fouled by Lawrenson. Inside the box, I'm sure. But it's a free kick to Everton, so we'll have to stay with this. Heath is still arguing with George Courtney. He was convinced it was a penalty.
I think he may well have been right as well, John, but we'll get a chance to see it later on. I mean, if the other one was a free kick, I would think that all the people in blue would think that one was as well.
That's aimed at Mountfield. He thought he was impeded too.
The difference being, and this is the old argument, of course, it wouldn't have been a free kick, it would have been a penalty. And a lot of critical people, managers, of course, accepted, would never criticise referees, as you know, but a lot of people would say that's the reason the referee didn't give it. But, you know, we cannot judge yet because we haven't seen the replay. But I certainly, from where I was, I thought it was a penalty.
It's given the crowd something to talk about. Indeed, those last 2 incidents have, one at each end. And derby matches never short of talking points. Here's Mulvey. Walsh. Oh, and Ratcliffe got caught out, which is unusual. And Rush is closing in, and Mountfield was just lunging out at that, and Alan Harper wasn't sure either. Liverpool have got a corner initially because Kevin Ratcliffe tried to bring the ball out of defence and found it was snatched away from him.
I'm a bit nervous, you know, at the back, John, whenever that ball comes in, apart from the fact that they've cut Ian Rush, who will always be hovering. I think that the nearly goal that was disallowed has made them very nervous now.
Whelan will take the corner. Hansen has taken up a near post position, marked by Sharp. Trevor Stevens' header out to Adrian Heath. Everton trying to play their way out again, and they did successfully. Sharp to Adams. Heath's in a good position inside. Stephen hit Sharp on the back. Mulvey, Gillespie. Any Merseyside derby goes down into the folklore of the fans up here. They debate moments like the ones we've just seen for months afterwards. Sharp away from Hansen. He's looking a very accomplished centre-forward these days, Graham Sharp. Rushes up on a run here. Mountfield is policing him. Volley by Harper. Hansen says leave it to Beglin. Whelan. It's like ping pong at the moment. Perhaps almost too fussed at times, Laurie, or too frantic for either side to show their true quality.
Yes, but Liverpool are trying to slow it down, as you can see. That's why the Everton fans are booing a little bit, but they're confident enough to do it, and of course they've got enough people at the back to find somebody within 10 or 15 yards of them, which has always been Liverpool's strength. There's always somebody supporting. Oh.
Rush, he's through. Brilliant save by Southall, but Rush still has it. And Nicol, and again Southall is there. A terrific double save by the Welsh international, who's just come back after months out of the game. But Rush was so fast. Ronnie Whelan played it through. Rush killed it beautifully. Southall read it, and when it came back in, Rush couldn't get to that one because Southall could.
He's incredible, this fellow Rush. I mean, you just think that he's up there on his own and he doesn't need anybody else, because every time he gets in that box, you know that there's going to be a shot from him. Wall Walsh there. I don't like to see forwards with long sleeves on in winter days. It looks as though he's just leaving it all to Rush at the moment, but I suppose he's going to play his part eventually.
Here's Hansen. Now picked off the ball. Referee almost in the way. Sheedy. Just under 15 minutes to go in the first half, and 3 moments for the fans to debate. The disallowed Rush effort, the claims for an Everton penalty, and then that smart piece of goalkeeping by Neville Southall to deny his Welsh international colleague. He seemed to read exactly which way Rush was going to go. But for anybody that's joined the match late, the score is still Everton 0, Liverpool 0. Forward by Mulvey, now Nicol. Mulvey again. McMahon can hit them from here, blocked by Mountfield. Beglin. Well taken, no, Rush got in. McMahon, Southall still off his line. Seemed to come very confidently for it initially, and then it slipped away. Molby. Every time they play the through ball, you start to hold your breath in case Rush breaks clear. It's a full-time job there for Mountfield and Ratcliffe. But now it's Everton's turn. Heath to Sharp. That was Kevin Sheedy on Steve Nicol. Whelan, McMahon to Beglin. Nichol's seen a lot of the ball in the first half over on the Liverpool right. Molby hasn't seen so much of it, that's his header. Rush. And Everton closing their ranks. Sharp. Langley. And Power's gone down the left wing. This is Sheedy's ball to Sharp. Sharp and Whelan tussling. Referee well placed. He's given Everton the free kick. In a dangerous position. They've got two good left footers over that side, Sheedy and Power. And they've got Mountfield coming up to support Sharp and the rest. Heath. Corner kick, Alan Hansen. Liverpool have got 10 players back in that penalty area. The danger is Sharp on the near post and Mountfield deeper. Sharp.
Surprising, isn't it? Heath's the smallest of the front runners, and he gets good headers in. That's a couple he's had so far, and Liverpool were fortunate there. It hit the back of someone's head.
If Liverpool were to win this match, they would go back to second place in the Today League Division 1 table. Everton, as Jimmy Hill said, would go above Liverpool if they were to win. So it may seem a partisan affair to Merseyside, but it influences the First Division Championship, as derbies between these two often do. Harper for Everton. Caught the head of Hansen as it went through. Forward by Nicol. And again, Rush is cutting off any thoughts of a back pass by Paul Power. He's skillful enough to go the other way and find Heath. Good ball. Sharp. Oof, Lawrence hooking that away. It's very tight and tense. Liverpool trying to dictate the pace here. This is McMahon. And Everton denying them space. Foul by Lawrence. Taken quickly by Sharp to Harper. Adams. The first ever Merseyside derby was played here at Goodison back in 1894. The old church was there then. 44,000 people saw that game. And there must be something like that in the ground today, maybe 1,000 or two more. Such a famous arena, Goodison. Neither side able to find the final pass, except perhaps when Whelan got rushed through and forced that double save from Southall.
Liverpool seem content just to sit back, possibly at half-time. It would appear to me that the players anyway seem to think that the way Everton are kicking now is best with the win, because they've had most long shots.
Here's Adams. Sharp's in the middle, so is Heath. Rush. Another one of those volleyed clearances from Alan Harper. Quite a feature of this first half. Didn't meet that one so well. Here's Rush. Oh, and Walsh wasn't ready to go. He is now, but Ratcliffe at the yard. Rush just wanted Walsh to go a fraction earlier, but he was probably conscious of getting offside. Here's Stephen. Ratcliffe just got in ahead of Walsh. Foul by Rush on Mountfield. What a tussle that is, to be sure. Sharp's up, Heath is closing in. Good clearance by Steve Nicol. To Walsh. Finally challenging him. Nicol once again. 5 minutes left in the first half. And as they have been so often in the past, these two Merseyside rivals level at 0-0. Here's Power. Well, the Everton manager, Howard Kendall, has something of a playing pedigree in Merseyside derbies. He scored the winner here in February 1968 against Liverpool. He confesses it wasn't a particularly spectacular goal, a tap-in he called it, but in Merseyside derbies, they're all memorable. There's Rush. Whelan. McMahon. Space was shot down so fast by first Sheedy, then Langley. It's been the pattern of the first half, summed up in that last midfield contest. Three minutes left in the first half, no score. Holding. Hansen on Heath. Everton have had plenty of these diagonal crosses to float towards Sharp and Mountfield, without success up to now. Heath's there again. And he's had, as Laurie said, more headers than the other two. He came in between them there and wasn't far away. The defenders were watching the two tall players, and little Adrian Heath sneaked in there and got a header in. Sensible play by Nicol. Had a good first half on that right-hand side for Liverpool. This is Whelan. Mulby, who's found it quite hard to get into things. There's Rush. He's through again. Southall out. Rush round him. Mountfield is covering the line, and the goalkeeper will have to take some credit because he forced Rush so wide that the ball ran out of play. It was a typical Liverpool move again. And as Walsh turned it through, Rush was ahead of Mountfield. Southall slid out, but look at Rush's first touch. It took the ball virtually to the 18-yard line. Winning the ball back in midfield. Whelan pushes it through, and they've got a runner on here, and it's McMahon who had the shot. Coming from midfield, taking Everton by surprise, and just reflecting why he's having such a good season as a goal scorer. Steve McMahon's got 11 so far, and that was a decent effort. Good running off the ball by Liverpool. Very much their trademark down the years. Stephen. And we're playing time added on for stoppages at the end of the first half. Everton 0, Liverpool 0. And Alan Hansen giving no time at all by Heath and Adams. Nicely played. And Begling came in behind him. That's going to be a corner right at the end of the first half to Everton. They always say it's a good time to score this. If there's time for the corner to be taken, that is. And Sharp. Oh, Alan Hansen got it over. It was flicked on by Sharp just over Mountfield's head, and Hansen was glad to concede what would have been another corner, but the whistle for half-time interrupts the proceedings and gives everybody a much-needed breather. The main protagonists of that first half were Rush, Southall and Heath, but this was the corner that could have brought Everton the first goal. Heath indeed was on the end of it, but Hansen got there first. Southall's saves from Rush will be remembered there. So will the two more controversial incidents as the players go off. Kevin MacDonald there on crutches, Craig Johnston, the man himself, Ian Rush, and a relieved Bruce Grobbelaar at the end, with a half-time score here of Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Well, let's get straight into those controversial incidents. The first time when Everton thought they should have had a penalty on the edge of the penalty area there. Now, we'll have a look at that again. You haven't seen it yet. The ball, I think, comes through there to Heath from Harper. There's the ball. He's moving through on the ball there. Now, the question is one of intent. The dummy is there. Did he bring him down? Was it intent? I have to say, at this point of time, that I do think it was a penalty. I shall ask my friend on my right, Trevor Brooking, whether you think it was too.
Yeah, no, I think it was a penalty. Mark Lawrenson's tried to get in front of Adrian Heath to intercept it, and Adrian Heath's done a little bit like Rushy did earlier, rode him round, going to let the ball run, and he's just clipped his heel. Alan Harper, actually, a lot of composure here, turns inside, and I think something he's got to do more in the second half. Plays it through, and Adrian's going to let it run, and Mark Lawrenson nips in, and his actual left foot, his standing foot, clips his heel. I mean, a lot of people say, well, there wasn't any danger anyway, he's only going to get to the byline.
Was he going for the ball is what the referee is trying to decide.
Mark Lawrenson was going to try and intercept the ball, yes. I would have said a penalty.
You would, so even though his intention was to play the ball and he played the man.
Yes.
One of those dividing lines.
Yeah, I mean, it is arguable. I think it
that.
balanced out, because
Yes.
I think, funnily enough, Ian Rush's chance earlier, I think I would have allowed that one as well.
Yeah.
You know.
What about the, no, well, we can look at it now. This, the moment when Liverpool thought they were hard done by, Rush does extremely well to get up here and getting contention, really, for a difficult ball. There it is, coming to him now. Now, the question there is, was Rush within playing distance of that ball at the moment that it came across the face of him and the defender? That is what the referee was having to decide there, and he judged that he wasn't within playing distance, I think, and so it was a foul obstruction.
Again, Derek Mountfield's tried to get in front of Ian Rush. I think, you know, you've got to say Ian Rush, right, he's used his weight a little bit, but then surely you've not got to give the defender too much protection. I think that's part of the game. He's turned very well and hit a good shot, and I would have allowed that one as well, although, you know, George Courtney is a very experienced referee, and he's only got a split second to make the decision.
In other words,
that's just in case we see George afterwards, Jim.
You'd like to score 1-1 at this point, and I think a lot of people would. But there has been plenty of incident. I wouldn't go with you on that one. I thought that he judged quite correctly that Rush wasn't quite within playing distance of that ball, and even leads back.
I think physical contact's part of the game, though, myself. You know, I think we've got to give a little bit of advantage to forwards, because, you know, it wasn't a blatant foul, and we want to see goals in matches.
Indeed we do, and in these matches, of course, the referees generally, certainly the ones that have been on television, have allowed the game to flow when we've been watching.
That's
anyway.
right.
Let's have a look at what I thought was the best move of the first half now. That was came from Everton and proved that even under difficult windy conditions, it is possible to keep the ball on the floor and keep possession. Nice little touches coming from there. Sharp plays more of a role in midfield than his opposite number Rush at the other end. But this is Paul Power here, who Laurie was talking about before the game, steaming up on the far side on his trusty old left foot. A good cross. I think you get about 7 or 8 passes there. And there's Heath popping up, not for the first time in that first half, into that position and almost making Grobbelaar make a save.
It was a good move. In fact, Everton, first 10 or 15 minutes, I think, settled down the better of the two. And then really, as the game progressed, the Liverpool came more and more into it. And Ian Rush's pace is no doubt giving them problems through the middle.
You liked the Ian Rush play altogether, don't you? I mean, like Laurie, you are a fan. You think he is such a dangerous player.
Well, he's so lightning quick. I mean, Kevin Ratcliffe at the back for Everton, he's a very fast lad. But in fact, they're playing Rushy on Mountfield and push Paul Walsh more towards the right on Paul Power, trying to expose his pace. But Liverpool today are playing more of a longer ball game, trying to utilise the pace of the two front lads.
And they've succeeded, of course, and it was only Neville Southall at that point who stood between them and a goal.
Well, that's right. Neville, I mean, certainly good to see him back in Everton's goal. Ronnie Whelan clips it through here. Myself, I think Ian Rush's first touch just let him down a bit. You see, he's had to go wide there. It just gave time. In fact, he didn't hit the first shot well either, but Neville did very well. But I think if his first touch would have brought him down into the centre of the goal, then it would have been 1-0. Clip back in, and Neville Southall, just to prove that the old legs are back working well again, holds on to that one very well. But nice. I think the first touch for Ian Rush would just pushed him a little bit wide.
we do ask for extremely high standards from referees and players when it comes to those inches that are available in the penalty area.
Well, that's right. I mean, you know, in this sort of game, chances are going to be very minimal. And so, I mean, I think the longer the game goes on, the harder it is going to be to break the defences down, really.
Well, we've seen so much of the game on the field. We have, or hoping in a moment, to have an interview with Phil Carter, the president of the Football League, to talk about the problem of hooliganism. There's no really doubt in our minds, and except about the fact that the government and the Football League can't make up their minds as how best to combat it. And at the moment, until we get Phil Carter, I'd like to ask you, Trevor, what do you think? Are you perplexed because of the disagreement between the government and the league on this issue?
Well, the big issue is the membership scheme, isn't it, really? I think Luton have worked theirs very well, and it'd be interesting to see at the end of the season. But I think if you're going to have a membership scheme, it's got to be national, so as, you know, people can visit. I can't have the Luton system where visiting supporters aren't allowed in the ground.
Well, that's what the government say. Let's hear now what the president of the league, Phil Carter, says, talking to Bob Wilson.
Mr. Carter, it's lovely to see 46,000 fans here, many of them intermingled. But the problem of hooliganism is not yet cured, and I know there's a wider audience watching today who are a little confused that the government and the league seem still to be at loggerheads. Can you explain that situation?
Yes, I think it's slightly unfortunate in point of fact, because what the league has done in response to the government's initiative is to put forward a 20-point proposal plan. Now, our attitude, quite simply, is that in consultation with the police, the PFA, that's the Players Association, the FA, and everybody connected with football, we feel very strongly that the introduction of a 100% membership scheme will be counterproductive as far as hooliganism is concerned. The police, naturally, are very concerned about controlling large crowds outside the grounds.
You're not saying that the Luton scheme is wrong for Luton, but you're saying that it possibly wouldn't work for you or Manchester United or Liverpool.
I think that's it exactly, you see. We've gone along with the Luton scheme and delighted to do so to see how it works for them. And it's quite interesting. We've seen an interim report this week from Leicester University, which states very strongly that they think that the Luton scheme is very good for Luton because of their previous problems, but they're not necessarily advocating it for other clubs.
You also believe that the hooliganism problem is well, it's improving, isn't it?
Well, I think this is the difficult thing we all have to counter with, because as soon as you start to say it's getting better, something will flare up or will be accused of being complacent, and that isn't the case at all. The police and ourselves are extremely anxious to stamp out this problem because it's affecting hooligans. And if I may just correct you slightly, Bob, it's actually 48,000 here today, which is an absolute record for the season so far.
That's wonderful. And there's just one point that does appear to be perhaps a veiled threat from the government, that they might say you have got to impose a full membership scheme.
Well, I think that would be very unfortunate, because if the government had to introduce legislation to enforce a membership scheme against the wishes of so many people in football and the police and the FA and everybody else concerned, then that again would seem to be counterproductive, because unfortunately under those circumstances the government would then be responsible for anything that went wrong afterwards.
Mr. Carter, thanks very much. There goes the bell. You're enjoying it, aren't you?
I am. Pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm enjoying it too, especially to learn there are 48,000 people in the ground, because that won't take so much money out of the compensation fund for television. Trevor, what do you think is going to happen in the second half?
Well, I think Howard Kendall possibly would have to be talking a little bit harder than Kenny Dalglish, because the last half an hour at Liverpool I felt were the better side. And if anything, I mean, to play down the middle is playing into Liverpool's strength with three centre-backs. So I think they've got to try and encourage Paul Power and Alan Harper, the two full-backs, to get forward in wide positions. I prefer myself to see Trevor Steven in a wider position than more central as he's playing today, because I think down the flanks is the position, getting crosses, that perhaps they might cause Liverpool problems. If they don't do that, then I think Liverpool might dominate the second half again.
Liverpool at this point in the Championship race have got their experienced players, more of them, than Everton. I mean, they really are struggling with inexperienced players, aren't they? They're coming out now. I mean, those are all probably first choice, whoever's fit, aren't they?
Yes, I think one area, I mean, we've spoken about the two fullbacks, Gary Stevens, Pat Vandenhauwe, who aren't playing, but I think Alan Harper and Paul Power have done very well this season. Possibly midfield, Peter Reid, Paul Bracewell, they're two very influential players, and I think they're missing them more than anything.
Are you taking this reserve side that they've got out today to beat Liverpool still?
Well, I still think I'll sit on the fence, but it's going to be very difficult for either side to get the breakthrough, and certainly chances such as Ian Rush, they can't allow them in the second half.
Well, we shall see and listen with joy to Laurie McMenemy and match commentator John Motson.
That crowd figure really is good news. The previous best attendance in the Football League this season was 45,890 for Manchester United Sheffield Wednesday, so it looks as though that's gone. And it also looks like the biggest crowd to watch a live television league game over the last 3 seasons. So the Merseysiders once again have responded warmly to this particular occasion of theirs. Liverpool to start the second half, having beaten Everton twice in the Super Cup final already this season. This Charity Shield meeting was a draw, so the Evertonians feel that Howard Kendall's team are due a win here. We shall see in the second half. They did win at Anfield last season, you may recall, whereupon Liverpool then went on a terrific run which climaxed in the League and Cup double, Everton finishing runners-up in both. There's Nicol. This wind still hasn't abated. Sheedy for Everton, swirling round the ground. Whelan. These days, Kenny Dalglish preferring the touchline bench to the thick of the action. Just feel that Liverpool lack Dalglish's ingenuity when he's not out there, but they're looking to the future. And particularly interesting to see what happens when Ian Rush goes at the end of the season. The deal with Juventus should be finalised in February, I gather. That was Rush. Ratcliffe is covering, Walsh is hovering. Well played by the Everton captain. And by Paul Power. Hansen's header, then Gillespie, offside given as Rush came back.
Very cool there, Paul Power. I was just wondering, John, whether he's probably played in more derby matches than anyone else, because at Manchester City he must have played against United many times over the years. 16,
Laurie.
I was just checking, I thought you would know.
There goes Sharp. That's Ratcliffe. And now Stephen. And again. Gillespie. It was Walsh.
McMahon went over in a hard tackle in the first half, John, and I saw him holding his hand a bit, and if you look, he's got some sort of plaster on his wrist now.
So we've got 2 Liverpool players then with the plasters on, just protective. Those eager faces there in the background as the supporters wait to see which way, if any, this Merseyside derby is going to go. The 135th league meeting, and the 2 clubs absolutely level. After all those years, Langley only to Rush. Here's Walsh. Ratcliffe in. He is so fast, Kevin Ratcliffe. Arguably the quickest defender in the league. Morby's throw. Walsh, here's Rush. Walsh. Everton Can't get it away yet, but Langley will now. Only as far as Hansen.
Paul Walsh looks a bit sharper to me this half. He's maybe had a couple of words said to him at half-time, because I thought he was decidedly sluggish in the first half. But if he and Rush can continue to be as sharp, I think that Liverpool look the better side at the moment, and they might get something.
Here's Gillespie for them. Nicol. Molby. Foul by Sheedy. The official attendance figure has been confirmed at 48,247. Molby with the kick. Off power, Rush is there. Couldn't direct the header.
It's not as easy as it looks, this John. I mean, that's the nearest he's been to the goal. You would think he would score, but he was aware of Southall being there, and I think he tried to get it over him, but it was very hard to judge with the win.
Nicol. Rush. Molby's joined the attack now. So is Whelan. And offside. Walsh is offside. The flag is up. It was a neat, swift move by Liverpool. The ball passed around quickly to the extra man, but he was just level with the last defender. And that means offside.
Excellent pass there by Ian Rush, and I think the both front men are benefiting by the fact that Molby has pushed forward more in this half.
Rather like the FA Cup final, when admittedly Everton were leading, Molby came into it in the second half and had a hand in all 3 goals. That was Gillespie forward, Rush and Ratcliffe together. Again, pace matches pace. Sheedy for Everton. Sharp waiting in the centre. There he is. Appeals for handball. Trevor Stephen beaten by McMahon. Molby. Hansen. Molby again. Sitting where we are, you do get some appreciation of how fast everything happens down there. Dwell on the ball at your peril in this game. Here's Molby. Players closing each other down all the time. In goes Whelan, well played. But a rather tame finish from Ronnie Whelan, as his expression reflects.
Sharp in the second half, Liverpool. Trevor made a very valid point that Everton should try and get the wide men into the game, but Liverpool have always had a habit of showing the wide men inside as opposed to a lot of clubs show them outside, and because of that they're having to hit crosses from 2 deep positions to be effective.
This is Power. Sharp's flick, Heath. McMahon. Not a good ball to Molby. Langley stepped in. Here's Harper. Sharp. It was Whelan who slipped and Lawrenson who covered. This side is Steve Nicol. Kevin Sheedy with a good interception. And time to play it back. Just cancelling each other out at the moment, the individuals and indeed the two teams. There's Rush. Back by Mountfield. McMahon. Offside, Paul Walsh. Both these clubs have utilised that system of pushing the defenders up when it suits them, trying to catch the player furthest forward in an offside position, but just occasionally it goes wrong, and then you might get a goal. Haven't had one so far. And we're 10 minutes into the second half here at Goodison Park. Crowd cheering because Bruce Grobbelaar was performing a few antics on his line when the whistle had gone. This is Gary Gillespie, number 2, looking for Walsh. Sheedy. Everton throw. And again, question of judging the wind. Here's Mountfield and Hansen. And Ratcliffe. And Power. Heath. Little through ball with the outside of his foot. This is Walsh, and Rush couldn't go again, having made the first pass. Southall's save from Rush will assume greater importance, perhaps, as the game goes on.
Liverpool are tending to do most of their attacking down the right flank with Nicol, and it's twofold purpose. Now and again he's looking very dangerous, but he's also keeping Sheedy quiet and not allowing Paul Power to get forward.
Yes, there is some absorbing personal contests going on out there. Again, it's a case of players knowing each other so well. Harper forward, looking for Heath. Mark Lawrenson stepped in and the referee gave the corner. Sheedy has gone across to take it. And the usual cluster of players around the 6-yard line. Sharp flick on Mountfield against the bar. And nobody knew where it was, least of all Gillespie. It came off his back in the end. Very, very close for Everton and Derek Mountfield.
Bruce Grobbelaar, he just got a fingertip to that, John, but he's certainly relieved now.
It was swerved in, the flick on by Graham Sharp. And at the other end, Walsh almost got in there as the ball came back into Liverpool's possession. And you can't take your eyes off this match for a moment.
Bruce Grobbelaar didn't touch it, John.
No, Mountfield's header struck the bar and came out. Here's Gillespie. Harper. Driven right back there by Trevor Stephen, and they've got possession from it, Everton. Adams battling away there. So is Whelan for Liverpool. And the free kick's already been given, not for the Whelan challenge. The referee already felt that Adams was fouled, so Everton have another free kick and are beginning to build up a little spell here. Having just hit the bar, Sheedy doing it for Harper, and away by Gillespie, and then Mulvey, who was caught as he cleared by Sheedy, I think.
I thought I saw Kenny Dalglish running up and down there. I don't know whether he was just passing a message on or feeling like me. I can't find my feet at the minute. He's probably just keeping himself warm in case he has to come on, John.
I think he was just telling John Walk to warm up there, Laurie, actually. John's been off the bench for a little trot down the touchline, and I think Kenny Dalglish did get up to perhaps pass a message out to the people already on the pitch. You were right.
That's right. Well, it's not exactly legal, but I suppose when you're classed as a player manager, you can get away with it.
Just over an hour gone in the Merseyside derby. No score, but Everton on the attack with some menace at the moment. Paul Power. Stephen. Sharp offside. Offside, it wouldn't have mattered. Graham Sharp, scorer of one of the most spectacular goals in a Merseyside derby. You saw it on Match of the Day at Anfield when he volleyed one in from a long way out. On that occasion, he was offside, but went for the volley, which went over anyway.
I think if there's one problem with the super system as Liverpool play, John, they don't seem to designate one man to mark one of the opposing forwards. They sort of tend to leave it to each other, and on that occasion, they very nearly suffered.
Certainly, this is Everton's most sustained spell, and as Heath and Sheedy went in for that ball, Steve Nicol took a blow, but he's back on his feet now. Power, Sheedy, Langley. Sheedy. Power. Oh, in the face. Kevin Langley's foot was high. Steve McMahon was the player who was caught. And George Courtney decides this is the time to step in. And he's going to take the name of the Everton number 6.
It's silly that really, because it's the first time the trainer has been on it from either side, and the game has been devoid of any bad injuries or bad tackles, but here you can see that he's got his eye on the ball, but he's lifted his leg far too high there.
No love lost there. McMahon used to play for Everton, and the man who fouled him, Kevin Langley, although he comes from rugby league stock around Wigan, was in fact a Liverpool supporter. Lawrenson takes the kick. Trevor Stephen. Sharp against McMahon. George Courtney played an advantage. And it hurried Liverpool and Everton move into an error. Steve Nicol. Everton, in this last quarter of an hour, have assumed a semblance of control over the match. Adams will take the corner. They nearly scored off the last one. Mountfield hit the bar. There he is again. This is Langley. Hit Whelan. Sheedy. Still Sheedy for Everton. And still. And in that packed penalty area, McMahon and company sorting it out for Liverpool. Sheedy there was prepared to take them on. Stephen to Heath. Even though there are no goals, the crowd there so excited, especially the Evertonians, who must feel they could have had a goal to show for these last few attacks, which have come in thick and fast and really examined the Liverpool defence. The midfield players are having to funnel back and help here for Liverpool. almost incessantly. But Liverpool, as Jim Beglin goes down, colliding with the perimeter board. Roy Evans, the Liverpool trainer, was right down in that position, actually, on hand. He's got ambulance men, policemen, the trainer. He couldn't be in better company down there. And the referee's gone over as well. Well, Liverpool have weathered many a storm down the years. And Kenny Dalglish sees his side here, for the moment, fighting a defensive action. Caught a side of Phil Thompson in the background there on that bench, and there's the Everton contingent with Colin Harvey at the front on the right, former teammate of Howard Kendall, of course, Terry Darracott at the back. All wrapped up in this Merseyside derby, in which we've yet to see a goal. George Courtney just having to cool things a bit now in this spell.
Just thinking, John, there's a few bobs just sitting on the benches there, isn't there?
Here's power for Everton. Let's come back to Langley. Well, the referee's gone to his pocket again here, and he wants to speak to Kevin Sheedy for the trip on Gary Gillespie. Two Everton players now cautioned. Sheedy, the former Liverpool man, has his name added to that of Langley.
He's been threatening to happen that for a while, because I think Kevin Sheedy started it all off, really. He is the one that's typified the so-called derby adrenaline flying a bit too high, and he's been involved in one or two near scrapes, and he's finished up in the boot.
This is Mulby. Oh, well tackled by Langley. Stephen looking for Sharp. Lawrence having to go across at full pelt. Sharp held him off a bit. Play on. Adams. Heath's in the middle. In the thick of that. Here's Sheedy. Power. On his right foot, though. Adams. Steve Nicholls' header out. Still Liverpool pressed back. Mountfield fired that one across to Heath. Now Sheedy. Sharp makes for the far post. Heath again. Rushes on the run in the inside left position. McMahon shoots, and it comes back off Southall as Nicol closed in. McMahon striking the ball again well from distance. Halfway through the second half. Still plenty of passion, but still no goals.
Howard Kendall's had Paul Wilkinson is still warming up for quite a while, but he's pulled him back into the box because he probably rightly feels now that Everton are coming into the game more than at any other time so far.
Here's Power. And Ian Rush running back because Harper was looking for an opening there. Forward by Mountfield. Offside against Walsh. Free kick to Everton. Harper. Heath and Lawrenson. And the first time clearance, now Ratcliffe and Rush and Mulby, and Walsh is trying to make a run from left to right. Jan Mulby was fouled. Free kick to Liverpool. Derek Mountfield penalised.
Sure, that was a trip, or whether he was just exhausted or whether he kidded everybody, John.
Anyway, he's found Nicol, as Mulvey. In again to Walsh. Trevor Stephen, Sheedy. Sheedy on Nicol this time. Linesman says it was a foul. Short to Mulvey. Gillespie's joined the attack in the centre. Mulvey, offside Nicol. Good scene, a packed ground, an even match. Just goes to show the sustained interest still in association football as the national people's game. The interest is not just on Merseyside, because a lot of clubs have reported their best crowds of the season these last 3 or 4 weeks. Mulvey. McMahon to Gillespie, who forces a corner. Nicol to take. Alan Hansen is forward here. Gillespie is also in there. Come to McMahon. Now Mulvey. He can go wide. Oh, what a lovely ball. Nicol fires in the cross. It's still Nicol. And Gillespie has stayed forward, and so has Hansen here. Mulvey. Alan Hansen now retrieving it on the far side. Walsh. Tried to find Whelan. There was a peach of a pass from Jan Mulvey inside the fullback a few seconds ago, allowing Nicol to latch onto it in a good position. Here's Walsh. Good efforts and well gathered. He had to hold that because as Walsh fired in the volley, Gillespie followed in for any possible rebound. Hansen, Harper. Beglin. Measured play by the Liverpool captain. No risks taken.
Liverpool are just gently sliding an extra man forward, John, and sometimes it's Nicol, and sometimes, as we saw there, Gillespie goes up for a corner and he stays up.
It's one for Ratcliffe to clear. Sheedy. With that reliable left foot, pumping it forward again. You can see on the far side that Everton are getting Paul Wilkinson ready to join the action. Rush. Mulvey. Gillespie. Offside. And Everton are going to make their substitution. The man coming off is Kevin Langley, the midfield player. One of the two who've been booked, in fact. And he's going to be replaced by Paul Wilkinson, who has got something of a derby match pedigree. He got the winner here against Liverpool the season before last. Now, he's gone to play up front with Sharp, and I would imagine Adrian Heath, Laurie, will drop into midfield.
Yes, he's been told to do that. He didn't look too happy to me to do it because he probably fancies his chances up front. But I think Howard Kendall knows what he's doing.
Nicol to Walsh. Against Power. Morby. Nicol. Oh, good tackle by Ratcliffe. Oh, wait a minute, offside. Well, it was a good tackle by Ratcliffe, although the ricochet off Walsh almost put Nicol in, but the flag was up. 15 minutes to go. Lovely example there of how to win the ball cleanly in your own penalty area and not commit a foul.
He has that extra confidence because of his pace, and you're right, I think that everybody acknowledges he's about the quickest defender in the Football League.
Now Wilkinson trying to get into the action. Here's Sharp. McMahon. Ratcliffe again, only to rush this time. Adams. Good running by Steve Nicol. Had a fine match. Here's Walsh. Rush is coming in here. And Nicol. He appeals for a corner. A goal kick is given.
Good play from Nicol there, pity about his finish, but a lot of people might have expected Ian Rush to have a go at the target on the goals there, but he's such a good player. Look at this, he directs it down into the path of Nicol, but the poor fella's just run about 100 yards, and he maybe couldn't manage the other half yard.
Yes, he started that move and finished it, Steve Nicol. Showed great energy on the right-hand side this afternoon. Here's Power. Wilkinson putting himself about on the edge of the area, forcing the header from Gillespie and the clearance from Lawrenson. That will just test Liverpool a little more in the air now, certainly from the balls pumped forward like that. Here's Sheedy. Stephen. Power. Stephen. Still Trevor Stephen. Adams. 4 in the middle here for Everton. Missed kick by Nicol, got a second chance. Ratcliffe. Morby's header forward, offside against Walsh. Well, after 92 years, the record between the two teams in league derbies, as we said at the start, absolutely level, and this match, I suppose, reflects that. Very little to choose between the two teams. Everton had a good spell early in the second half, hit the bar, but since then Liverpool have established a bridgehead again. Although neither goalkeeper has been extended too much in this second half. Here's Sheedy. Sharp on the far side. Heath is running on in the centre. Sharp to Adams. Off Whelan for the corner.
Just mess around young Adams out there. When he gets the chance, he tries to get his cross in. I took Trevor's point about Stephen, but Adams is doing a fair job on away.
Here he is again, and now Sheedy. Rolling it for Trevor Stephen. Jan Morby got a foot in. And release the ball that Liverpool wanted. Rush. Walsh is steaming on, and Gary Gillespie on the far side. Coming in outside Alan Harper. Beglin. Fine appreciation of the game by Gillespie there. He saw the chance to come out of defence and make the extra man. And got on the end of the cross. That was Wilkinson. Just edging that past Stephen to Mulby. Mountfield not allowing rush through in this second half so far. Sheedy and Power combining again on the Everton left. It can go right now. Trevor Stephen. They wanted it to go the other way, but he's got ability on the ball, this lad. Sheedy. Sharp Wilkinson.
Well, there, Wilkinson, because he must have been very, very cold sitting on that bench, and he's only been on a few minutes. But Sheedy is an excellent passer of the ball, and a lot of players in his position, they would have spread it out to the wing. Morgan, a safer pass, but he went for the heart, and it's a good sign.
10 minutes left. Everton 0, Liverpool 0. It's Mountfield with the header. Hansen. Compliment to the two teams and to the referee that by and large this has been another very sporting derby match. Very rarely that a Liverpool-Everton match gets out of control. They're all good footballers. Power still working well for Everton. So too is Stephen here. Knocked over by Rush, but Everton have the advantage. The referee is right to play on. Harper. Got it back from Heath. Cliff's header. Sharp. Wilkinson just hung back for a second to try and avoid the offside and couldn't latch onto the pass. It's been so fast and fearless at times that maybe a little finesse has been missing at the highest possible level in this derby match. The telling final ball and crisp shot that might have brought a goal we haven't yet seen.
See, Liverpool have got to be careful because they're going for 3 points here, and they've released the man from the back, and the back four is a bit more square now, and they look a little bit vulnerable to a through ball.
Stephen getting far more touches in this second half. This is Harper who finds him here. Rolling it out to Paul Power. The two big fellas waiting on the edge of the area. Wilkinson there now, the target. Beglin with the volley. Off the head of Harper. And now Ratcliffe. We'll have to hurry back now, the Everton skipper. Mulby looking for Rush, but Mountfield knew what was happening there. And looks for Sharp. Free kick on the edge of the area. Against Gary Gillespie for the challenge on Graham Sharp. Now we have a position from which Everton have reaped rewards in the past. Kevin Sheedy, so clever with the left foot. Sharp, Wilkinson and Mountfield, an awesome trio to come in from the far side of the area, should he chip it that way. Trevor Stephen tries to curl one, and maybe on reflection they wish Sheedy had played the diagonal ball. But in the First Division, clubs need a full repertoire of free kicks and work on them pretty hard by and large. Five minutes to go then. And the rivals still locked at 0-0. In the mid-70s, it was a familiar Merseyside derby match result, Everton 0, Liverpool 0, and then in the last 2 or 3 years, the games have opened up rather, not least the FA Cup final. And they could meet again in the quarter-finals of the Littlewoods Cup. Holby took the throw in before Ratcliffe could get back on the pitch. Here's Rush. Nicol. Holby, treading little ball, that is Nicol. Howard got the challenge in though, he's lusted the course really well, the oldest man in the match. Making light of the 33 years. This is Nicol. Ball holding up in the breeze a bit there. Mulby looking for Walsh, Ratcliffe aware of him. He moves so smoothly, Kevin Ratcliffe. Talk about Rolls-Royce players. You won't get anybody who looks more composed in his running style than the Everton captain. Here's Sheedy. Wilkinson in the centre. This is Stephen. Harper. Wilkinson. Adams. Oh, Sharp underneath this with Gillespie. Fell nicely for the Liverpool man. Crowd wanted to see the early ball pumped up towards Rush, but Gillespie is considering what else is on. Finally, he goes for that. And there was a bit of space up there. If Rush could have knocked it back to either Mulby or Whelan. Instead, it's Alan Harper, nice and tidy. Heath. Sharp. Adams, a little over-anxious. Mark Lawrenson. Derek Mountfield. The passing's going astray a bit now. Offside. It was Sharp who was caught, and then Wilkinson who ran on as well. Really well dealt with by Ratcliffe. Harper, Heath. But the play is breaking down now when the ball reaches the final third of the field. Defenders have been very much in charge for this last quarter of an hour. A few legs tiring, no doubt. Bruce Grobbelaar always having time for some antics, but not terribly pleased with his defenders. shouting at Hansen.
Brian Clough would have fined him for that, John.
Into the last minute now. Are we going to see a dramatic derby finish here? This is Walsh for Liverpool. Well, we might. That's a foul by Paul Power. And Liverpool have certainly not given up the prospects of a winning goal. Gillespie and Hansen have both made their way forward. Come out to McMahon. As we go into stoppage time. McMahon plays the ball safely back. It's still all square in the league between the two Merseyside rivals after 92 years. This is the 41st drawn match. And after a promising first half in which the major incidents came, the second, by comparison, I suppose, a little disappointing. And the fans who are demanding up here won't see that as one of the most memorable Merseyside derbies. However, it was always competitive, and the nearest we came to a goal in the second half was when Derek Mountfield hit the bar for Everton. So, Liverpool do not go second in the league, and Everton are still behind them in that table, with a final score at Goodison of Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
No, Dixie Dean's record remains intact. The man of the day, or the man of the hour, was meant to be Ian Rush. Didn't manage to get that goal that he was seeking, but it might be worthwhile looking at the afternoon through his eyes just for a moment. First of all, the moment when Neville Southall was the man who actually got in there and prevented what looked for a moment to be an open chance. There it is, the ball over the top, first touch not quite accurate, as Trevor Brooking pointed out, and Southall was able to get in there, smother it. What looks to be a goal these days so often isn't. And that's a goalkeeper's delight, crowd pleasing, that gives him a bit of excitement. And now the one where he did get it in the net, probably feel quite justified in arguing his case for some time. Remember, on this, Trevor Brooking thought that it should have been allowed as a goal, and my view is that he was not in playing distance. As the ball comes there, this is the moment to judge. Is he within playing distance of that ball, or does he put his backside there into his opponent before finishing clinically? Then, of course, the moment which he wouldn't have liked, when Kevin Ratcliffe, who I think was the best defender on the field today, not only was astray there, but actually caught him up. They've both got tremendous pace, colleagues in the Welsh side, but that's a perfect bit of defence by, I think, the best number 6, without a doubt, in the league today. And lastly, the moment when he was unselfish. Good cross here from Walsh. And as the ball was in the air, I thought, is he going to take this chance and head it for one of the corners? No. Unselfishly, he plays it down to Nicol, but the ball bounces up, and Rush's afternoon ends barrenly. Trevor, I have to say, before the start, you did say, I fancy a 0-0, but I daren't say that before.
Didn't want the viewers to turn off, but I mean, I think credit to the defenders, they marked well. There were very few chances, and you know, if you get the odd chance in these derby games, you've got to tuck it away. But from a spectacle point of view, the game needed that goal, really.
Who were the players that really took your eye this afternoon?
Well, again, I think we mentioned Ian Rush. I mean, he always looked very sharp. I think in the second half, Everton came back well. I mean, I thought Liverpool was the better side in the first 45 minutes, and then Everton in that second half. But really, defenders stood out. The three centre-backs, Gillespie, Lawrenson and Hansen, looked very composed. Stevie Nicol did very well, I thought, galloping down the right side. But overall, I thought defenders unfortunately dominated, and you know, probably both sides will settle for a point in the end.
We've been talking about Ian Rush. What about Graham Sharp as a different kind of number 9? He gets in the game an awful lot more and links with his teammates.
Yes, I think this game, I mean the big games when you're playing against the other top sides, perhaps highlights that he does miss Gary Lineker alongside him, that little extra pace. But I mean, Graham Sharp's a great target man. They put a lot of balls into him. Adrian Heath played up in the first hour, and then Paul Wilkinson came on. But they just lack that little bit of acceleration that Gary Lineker's got, because Graham Sharp likes to flick on balls. I mean, he is a very good player, but at the moment, I think Howard Kendall's not quite sure who to play up as alongside him.
Well, it hasn't affected the league table much. Just let's have a look at that and see. There's Arsenal proudly on top. Liverpool still in third place. Everton have moved up a couple on goal difference there. You know, and the names there: Luton Town, Coventry City, Norwich City, Sheffield Wednesday, all trying to keep the pot boiling. Would you say, well, it ends at Tottenham on 25. There are 10 teams there, all with a chance of the Championship?
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, it's that sort of season at the moment where everyone's beating everyone else. I mean, Everton there were 9th before today, getting a point, and in fact they jump up to 5th place.
Yes.
So very excited for all sets of supporters. I think that's what's helping the Gates, that everyone feels that they're in with a chance.
So really it's rather strange, because people these days are talking about all the big money clubs getting the best players. You know, Super League is in the air, and yet in this year it's not happening.
No, I think if we look at the big sides, probably they've had injury problems. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see how it all develops late on in the season.
Well, I think we might get just a brief word from Howard Kendall down there in the tunnel with Bob Wilson.
Howard, still 47 wins each?
Yeah. I thought that they shaded the first half, and I think that we won on points in the second half, really. I think that we pressurised them a little bit better in the second and put them under more pressure, and a little unlucky when Adrian Heath hit the crossbar, yeah.
Yes. And what about the penalty? How did you feel about the one involving Adrian Heath in the first half?
Certainly felt it was a penalty from where I was sitting, but he was certainly in the area. It's always a little difficult. There's a lot of bodies around it, but there was a nice little ball played down the side of him, and he was turning and then brought down, I felt. But George Courtney didn't agree, so, I mean, that's it.
They are great occasions, aren't they?
Well, the lights haven't gone out on Everton or Liverpool as the 135th Merseyside derby ends without a goal. Largely due, really, to the skill of the defenders, the fine decisions of a referee, and a swirling wind which made the conditions very difficult. But it did have its moments, that game, which will keep the arguments going in Liverpool well into the night. Good afternoon to you.